Hello. Welcome back to Mik'd Up. Today is Tuesday, November 9th.
No lies.
Well,
I guess this would if we usually whenever we pre-record.
We're live.
Yeah, this is
no
live.
pre-recording. Sorry about yesterday. I'm a new uncle.
That's right.
My sister had a baby yesterday, so I was in New Orleans for to meet the little one, and so I had to, sometimes family comes first, and we had to move the show. So we appreciate y'all not being super mad. If whoever's listening to us right now live, we appreciate y'all. Got a lot to talk about. Hadn't had a show since Blake Baker decided to come back to LSU. Hadn't had a show since Eric Wolford. Is it Wolford?
Wolford.
Was named the new offensive line coach. Haven't had a show since Lane Kiffin has been very generous with his staff. I said, hey, all my offensive staff can go back. Ole Miss, big talkers, huh? Oh, we're not letting anybody back in the building. Actually, can y'all bring the whole offensive staff back so that we can be good? So they're all back there. For those of you who are worried about maybe them wanting to stay after they go there, if they end up winning it or making a deep run, that's not going to happen. LSU has come into an agreement with the entire staff that if they were to take the job and stay at Ole Miss, Ole Miss already hired a new offensive coordinator from ECU.
Great hire, says Lane Kiffin.
Great hire. He's such a troll, dude.
Yeah, I know.
He's such a troll. But there's an agreement in place where if any of the staff decides to stay at Ole Miss, they have to pay 300 times. Ole Miss has to pay 300 times their agreed upon contract back to LSU.
What 6 million times 300?
No, it'd be 3 times.
300 times. 9 times?
No, but it's just basically 3 times.
Okay. 300
times of what the value of it, which is basically 3 times. So
18.
I know what that is, but I don't think it's the entirety of the contract. I think it's just that first year salary. So they have to pay like $6 million or whatever it would be. But that's not going to happen. They will be back. They're going to go there and coach Ole Miss and not poach any players, I would imagine. But Lane Kiffin, obviously transfer portal. You're seeing a bunch of people put their name in the portal. One of those being Sam Levitt. You would have to imagine that Lane Kiffin will be all over that. We'll talk about that, talk about the prospects of who we need to get in the portal, who we attack, and who position of needs. And the obvious, to some people, maybe offensive line, but I'd say hold on that. Let's talk about this because I'm not so sure it's as big of a weakness as we initially thought. I'll explain as we continue to go through the show. Frank Wilson's future is still undecided. He is coaching in the bowl game. You have some opt-outs. We're going to talk about all of that. LSU basketball gets their first loss of the season. Biggest challenge they had all year on the road against Texas Tech. Texas Tech beats the brakes off of them by 30 points. Nice learning lesson. See what happens, how they recover from that. Who else? What else we got? Playoff bracket is set. Notre Dame crying. Yeah, Notre Dame doesn't love being left out, so instead they're going to stick it to the NCAA and really cost the NCAA all this money because Notre Dame is the biggest brand in college football, and we're really going to show you, and we're not going to play in the bowl game. See how that works? I think that's a bad look, but we'll talk about that as we go through the course of the show. We're joined by producer Lloyd, wearing the all green, Army green attire, green on green. I can't see your pants. Can't see your pants. There you go, green on green. Different shades.
What is fatigue? Army clothes.
Works. Joined by our 2-time national champion, 1-time football, 1-time baseball, first-round draft pick for the Chicago White Sox, media pundit for SEC Network come baseball season, our co-host, Jared.
Lest we forget.
And look at the backdrop that we've got now.
Get that 70-pound trophy out.
Look at that. Looking good. Looking great. How we doing, Jay? How we doing?
I'm living, man. I'm not, I'm not mad. I got put some new digs and things together, and some good friends in Dallas took care of some things for me. It's been good. So kind of put this room together, and here we are right now.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, brother. I knew you had a couple of things that you could put on the wall. Now I am still barren. I don't have many accolades.
We got to work on your side.
A decent time or two, whatever.
Yeah, 2 jerseys.
There you go.
We got to work on your wall. You got some things. We just got to put it on the wall.
Yeah, I don't have anything. Nothing of me.
No, but it's okay.
I've got the what? What do I have? I have one picture with Dylan Cruz. That's pretty cool.
We have the catcher's gear.
With the catcher's gear. Got Malazzo's gear. No, I'm saying nothing mine. I could bring
Nothing
the
yours.
old. You want the old high school helmet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The jersey. You have a high school jersey?
No jersey. Took the helmet.
Okay.
Those were wasn't supposed to.
I can't imagine they offered that to you.
No, they tried to tell me I couldn't walk at graduation. I was like, I do not care.
Try me.
I didn't go.
You think that bothers me?
I didn't even go to
Yeah.
my graduation. Went to go play golf.
Yeah, that's typical. That's on brand.
Yeah, I already
on
did
brand.
it.
That's
You
on
don't
brand.
get any more of my time.
You can say I'm not going to graduate. I'm just not going to walk. You can't
Yeah.
just pull my credentials.
I'll walk with the.
Yeah,
We'll walk with this helmet on.
doesn't work. All right, let's talk about this. Blake Baker. Everybody thought Blake Baker was gone, Tulane included. I think you could probably base that off their hire. That they thought they had Blake Baker in the bag. Blake Baker said, "Hold on, not so fast. I like where I'm at. I'm comfortable where I'm at. My kids like where I'm at. My wife likes where I'm at. My wife actually went to LSU. I went to Tulane, but I understand the value of LSU. And I took a defense that was ranked, that was in the 100, whatever,
As bad as it could be.
when I first got there. First year, 89th. Second year, 15th. I have my best recruiting class I've ever recruited to come here. Best defensive line class potentially in the history of LSU. And I have some key guys coming back on this defense. I want to see this thing through. I think I have, obviously, an offense that's going to be good, that is going to be very complimentary of my defense. And this is not him saying, this is what I'm assuming he's thinking. I believe that he thinks he can get a better Power 4 job from LSU than he did from Tulane for a couple of reasons. One, I think LSU is going to have a lot of success moving forward, and they're going to be in the playoffs, and they're going to be making runs, and he's going to be playing high-level defense. He's going to have more time to build that defense and make it his own. As you saw this year, it was significantly better than it was year one. I believe the defense is going to take another step forward. It's going to be one of the best defenses in the country. And two, if you go to Tulane, let's say 7 years ago, it's a little different than going to Tulane now. Hey, if you go to Tulane 7 years ago and you win 8 wins and you go and you're competitive and you do things, you go to bowl games, that's great. Well, the two coaches before them had some serious success. I think they're back-to-back 10-win seasons. Tulane is obviously in the playoffs this year. Both head coaches took big jobs after Tulane. So now you're going to a school that has high expectations, that has not been they're not used to having success unless you were in the 70s and the 80s. That's when Tulane was at his heyday. They were really good. Now they have kind of put themselves back in a category where they expect success. And I think Blake Baker is going to be a good head coach at some point. But if you go there and you end up not having the success as the previous two coaches, then you kind of go backwards, right? Now you have to go back to, okay, if it doesn't work out here at Tulane, I'm going to have to go back and become a defensive coordinator somewhere else and try to work my way back up. Or you stay at LSU and you continue that run that you've been on as a defensive coordinator. You have a run through the postseason that you're expecting with Lane Kiffin and the offense that he's going to bring. And you set yourself up in years to come as the top assistant in college football that recent history has shown you'll get a really good job. Dan Lanning, defensive coordinator at Georgia, right? Or is it Alabama? No, Georgia, under Kirby Smart. Goes and gets the Oregon job. Kirby Smart, defensive coordinator for Saban, takes a job at Georgia. You're getting Will Stein, offensive coordinator at Oregon, just took a big head coaching job. You're getting these offensive coordinators who are super successful at these really big schools get these big-time Power 4 jobs, and I believe he sees that, and he's like, okay, I think I have a better opportunity to do that here at LSU than at Tulane. So I'm very excited for that. Obviously, LSU fans should be super pumped for that.
One little small part of that, too, because I think we saw a real glimpse of this early on in those first 4 games of the season. I also think he thought that this year's defense was way better than what it even finished, was
Correct.
way better than what it even ended up looking like. And what I mean by that is overexposure of a defense, meaning them having to be out there more often, meaning you not playing competent offensive football can lead to quote-unquote bad defensive football, right? And so I think he sees it as, well, if I got key pieces coming back, and I got some of the best recruiting class already, we ain't even talking about the portal. We haven't even added the portal and what may possibly be in there and what LSU could possibly get out of it on the other end of it. We haven't even talked about that. But if you can add those two key pieces to it and you can build on the concepts with the familiarity that you already have inside the program, well, shit. The defense could be even better next year. And if the defense is even better and we play more high-stakes ball games, that means everybody eats. That means every assistant eats. That means every player eats. That means there's better opportunity for everybody on the other side of it. So I think he's playing that game as opposed to saying, I got to go basically, and I'm not saying it's not easy. I'm not saying it's so impossible to do, but I got to go be the third coach in a row at Tulane to go reach a spot or reach a height that we really hadn't seen in that place in a number of years before those two tenures. So I think he's seeing that part of it is like, if there is a short-term route for me to get to that head coaching spot, that spot's probably best served as me as the DC in this kind of system.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. You're going to say something, Lloyd? Before that, when I was talking about that, didn't you say something?
Oh, I was going to say he did talk about like he obviously did an interview with
Off the bench?
Yeah, Hester and Flynn, and they're
Not in off the bench, off the bench.
right, exactly, two different things.
Yep.
Very popular name. But he was saying it was like unfinished business where they looked up and they said like all of the guys that I could have coming back, all the like the recruiting promises I made, like I wouldn't feel comfortable kind of leaving these guys because of what I said and what I promised, and but that's a rarity in college football where people are like, hey, I got an opportunity to do something that, I've always wanted to do, because he spoke a lot about when I become a head coach. Like, he does not see himself as, it's not one of those guys like coordinator forever.
Correct.
He just saw, like I think you laid out, the opportunity that has changed in college football because it has gotten more cutthroat than it's ever been. People are hiring and firing coaches left and right. Like you see Penn State, you saw LSU, where it's just, this thing's changing because we have to win and we have to win now.
Yep.
And so there will be a job at some point that comes up, whether it be in the SEC, Big 12, Big 10, whatever. And I would love to see him go over there.
Correct.
But that's where he saw himself and saw what he could do at LSU. And why not take that opportunity? Because look at how many moves he would have had to have made in the span of like 2 years.
And look, and here's the other part of it. And he mentioned this in that interview, which was a great interview, by the way. He mentioned he's had the privilege of coaching under some really good coaches. Now, whether you want to give Brian Kelly, say whatever you want to say about Brian Kelly, he coached under Drinkowitz, who's been successful at a school that is not used to having success in football. He coached under Brian Kelly when Brian Kelly came here, and now he's coaching under Lane Kiffin, who obviously has had his success and was the most highly touted guy, head coach out there, and now here at LSU. So by coaching under these guys, he's a young guy. He's 43 years old. Like, he's not in the back end of his career. He's right in the middle of his career. And so he has the opportunity to learn things that work, things that don't work from three coaches who have had a lot of success in college football. And look, I hope Lane Kiffin's here for the rest of his entire career. History shows that's probably not going to be the case. So if Lane Kiffin's here for 5 years and Blake Baker does what he does, who's to say that Blake Baker decides to hold this thing out? There's not a job that comes open that he feels like he wants to take, and Lane Kiffin decides in 6 years, 5-6 years, he wants to go coach in the NFL. And Blake Baker every year has a top 10 defense. Like, I'd imagine he'd be a pretty hot candidate for maybe taking over the job here in Baton Rouge, which I'm not saying that's what he's hoping for, but I know in the back of his mind that could be a potential possibility for him. So it's a great thing for LSU. It's a huge get for LSU. They keep the entire defensive staff together minus Kyle Williams, which I think that was a mutual thing. I think Kyle Williams decided that maybe college football wasn't for him. They bring in a new defensive line coach who has a lot of success in college football. And LSU's defense is not going to miss a beat. They're going to be better than ever, I think, next year. They're going to get into the portal and bring some guys. You have two cornerbacks that next year are going to be as good as any. Obviously, Woodland and Pickett, which Pickett is on 3 defensive freshman of the year. And then I believe you're going to keep who's the other safety we got?
DeMarcus Cooley.
I think you're going to keep DeMarcus Cooley. And so you're going to have some really good pieces back. I wouldn't be shocked if Whitweeks comes back, right? That's obviously a potential. And if you keep that, you have a solid foundation of guys coming back for a defense, plus your super young but super talented defensive line group class. And you're going to go and supplement those guys with experienced guys out of the portal, which Lane Kiffin has proven time and time again. He is one of the best, if not the best, at going out the portal and bringing in guys that fit what he wants to do. And it's an exciting time for LSU for being in such a bad football season and discouraging and frustrating and all the things that you want to say. Drama-filled football season.
There was one bright spot.
What?
The defense.
Yeah, right. The defense was a bright spot, but then you cap off the season by hiring the hottest name in college football and by keeping your best part of your team together, which is your defensive staff. And so the future is bright for LSU, and I think it's a huge get for LSU to keep him. And I'm looking forward to see what he does.
No, I agree with that. And I think too. This is me really just throwing a thought process out there. I have no indication that this is what's going on, but I do know a lot of times there's elements of the NFL that gets copycatted by college football and the back and forth. And so what I mean by that is, like you mentioned Blake and how long he could possibly stay and or whatnot. If you go and have early success with Lane Kiffin at the helm, does that put a situation for Blake Baker where he's like, I'm not taking the first opportunity. Mm-hmm. I'm going to take the first opportunity that I think can get me the most and highest success earliest. Correct. Meaning, do you take the same route? Does that route become the same thing that I guess a Ben Johnson and a Aaron Glenn got in the NFL, where they sat there and they turned down head coaching opportunities because they didn't feel that was the right one for them, as opposed to saying, I finally got a head coaching opportunity. It's probably not going to come back to me again, even though it's like a good one on the same level. And I'm talking about, taking a step down-ish. I'm talking about taking ones that are pretty much on the same level where you are to help you go where you want to go. Like, does that kind of situation happen if Lane Kiffin comes in, the team has early success, obviously the defense is still doing good, and instead of just picking up and saying, I'm out at the first thing smoking, he sits there and waits for what he feels is the perfect opportunity for him?
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's a good decision by him. It wasn't something that he made easily. He went through all the pros and cons. Obviously, talked with his family. I'm sure he talked with some mentors, and he decided this was the best fit for him and best decision for him. And take him out of it. LSU for LSU's sake, it was the best thing that could happen to LSU.
Oh, best case scenario for LSU, right? Like you look around and you go, you won the college football coaching carousel, right? You see, especially whenever you see the other hires that were made where everybody thought they were in on a certain candidate, right? You see where
Penn State fell on their feet.
Fell on their face.
And then fell on their feet.
You think Campbell's a good hire?
I don't mind Campbell. For everything that they did, for all the misses and for all the stuff, for that being the last guy and almost your last resort, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah.
You're right, because I didn't know where they were going to go.
Correct.
But
I was hoping they'd go Brian Kelly.
That's what
every other coach got helped. Every other team got fired. Their coach got helped out.
Well, it goes to show you why he's gone.
Last three coaches at LSU won national championships outside of Brian Kelly. Two of the three. The best job they could have gotten after they left LSU was Kansas. Think about that.
Yeah.
Les Miles got fired. The best job he could get after LSU was Kansas.
Well,
Coach O got fired. Didn't get another job. Brian Kelly got fired. Doesn't seem like he's going to want to coach.
It goes to show what LSU can do for you.
Correct. Now go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, but it's to that, like, in that same vein, and that's what Blake Baker's thinking of, like, in itself, right? Like, this is the best place I can be for me right now because of the way college football has changed. It's no longer I have to go take a head coaching job as soon as I get offered. It's like, well, I'm getting paid very well. I kind of feel like I understand the dynamic. LSU won, like I said, with Lane Kiffin, but if it were to be, you get Lane Kiffin, you get his offensive staff, and then Blake Baker leaves and takes. That was the conversation, right? Kevin Peoples would have been gone, Jake Olson would have been gone, and obviously Blake Baker would have been gone. It's like, okay, you took
probably Corey Raymond.
Yeah, well, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. But you take 2 steps forward, maybe 1 step back. But now you just took 5 steps forward. We're like, okay, you're going to run back that defense with that coordinator, keep everybody in their spot where they are, and now it feels like LSU, as much as it was going to be,
oh shit,
right? I don't know. I think the expectation has changed all of a sudden very quickly, with where LSU was, and even with the Lane Kiffin hire to now where it is with Blake Baker coming back. I think that changed a lot of what people think of LSU and what it could be, and even in 2026.
Right. Correct.
Well, I think you gotta land the play. They gotta land the players too. Now, like we're still talking about this, but nobody knows what the quarterback situation is going to be. Nobody knows who else is going to be on the roster. Nobody even knows truly who's open and who's going to be available in the portal. And that's a big part of what goes on, especially at these top tier type of schools. Like you're going to build up that recruiting class. You're going to get all those things going with freshmen, but being able to sprinkle in ready-made players already that are top tier, that changes your roster a lot. And so now, like you said, yeah, okay, great, you have a lot of these things in place, but you still got to go land and got to go do big things I would imagine that they're going to try to do in the portal. I don't know how many, but there still is impact players that you need to bring in. And so I think kind of looking at all that stuff, you're like, okay, there's some good stuff in place already. Year one is kind of hard to get all these things going, but you're on the right track to be a player and a large player in a quick way.
Yeah, because the things that you had wrong offensively, you feel like you've addressed with hires, though. Like, I don't know what was going on in the offensive line room. Obviously, a great recruiter, but the development wasn't there. I don't know, and I don't even want to go as far as to say I don't know about the development. When your scheme is that broken, I don't know who to blame. Right? Is it the offensive coordinator? Is it the strength and conditioning coach? Is it you're not getting developed? Or is it like we don't know how to even operate within the scheme because it makes no sense?
Right. Well, that was going to be my next question, right? And that was going to be my next, talking point is all of these good things have happened, right? Lane Kiffin is starting to round out his staff.
And send them away. They're going to camp.
Yeah, they're going practice.
Yeah.
They're going to practice in the playoffs. Hey, look, tell me how it is.
Yeah.
Come back and report back how the playoffs are. But you have your offensive staff. You hired your offensive line coach, which is not going to Ole Miss. He'll be here. You have a couple spots that are still available. Obviously, Frank Wilson's future is undecided. He talked about that a little bit today in his press conference. He is going to coach the bowl game. He has talked about there has been some conversations about a role, and there is a role. It's just a matter of what that looks like. And so his future is undecided, but you have, for the most part, you have your staff in place. And I guess my next question to that is not necessarily the staff, right? Because we can talk all we want about what's Frank going to do, what he's not going to do. I think it just depends on, hey, does he want to be on the field or not on the field, or is there going to be a spot for him on the field here at LSU? I don't know all that. That's something that we've talked about a lot. But with Lane Kiffin being as good in the portal as he is, my question to y'all would be, what is the immediate needs that he has to go out and find answers for in the portal? I know what some people think, and I think I agree and disagree with that, but I want to hear y'all's opinion on that on what y'all think first, and then we can get into that.
I mean, I would imagine at the absolute top of the list, it's no surprise, right? You're at least looking for quarterback competition, if not for a replacement at that spot.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say. So I think that's kind of where you start, and then the rest of it's going to have to figure out. Obviously, you're going to lose some key pieces, but who exactly is going, and who do we think that there's an upgradable option for me out there to go and get? But I think that's the number one spot he's going to start, and I would imagine there's going to be some huge names, some huge opportunity out there in the portal to start anyway.
I agree. I think for me, you got to go and you got to fill – your strength is going to be, right now, as it stands, is your defense, right? So you go out there and you say, okay, we have a super talented freshman class of defensive linemen. Mm-hmm. Let's go supplement those guys with some defensive linemen that have some experience and are talented. Bring those in there so you have a nice rotation. You can't just play with 4 guys, 5 guys. You want to have a good rotation, right? I think the obvious concern for a lot of people is the offensive line. I agree. I think you go out there and you go find a couple pieces. I'm not so sure that they don't have some answers on the offensive line in-house, right? I know it was bad. I know it looked terrible. I know offensive line was our biggest weakness. I get all of that, and I don't disagree. All right, I very much agree to that. But you can't. I am not sitting here today, and I believe that you believe this, Lloyd, and I think that you believe this, Jared, that if you go look at all of the offensive line recruits that we've brought in the last couple years, and you look at their recruiting ranking, and their ability and their talent, I am not convinced that you missed on every single one of those guys. I think this has something to do with scheme and development. A combination of both, one or the other. I don't know what it is. I believe you have some guys on the offensive line right now that are going to be really good and be contributors for you next year and years coming. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I didn't know you were finished. Go ahead.
No, and so you have a new offensive line coach, and I think what's paramount is you have obviously the portal going on right now. People are putting their names in there, all this kind of stuff. They can't get signees in the portal until January, right? You can put your name in the portal, but you can't say I'm going
January 2nd.
You can't say I'm going anywhere until January 2nd, right? So that gives LSU's staff, new staff, a month of evaluation, right? And this isn't high school evaluation. This is, hey, we're going to evaluate what we got on the team right now. We're preparing for a bowl game. Some guys are going to opt out, fine. The guys that are opting out are not going to be here next year, fine. But we have the ability. We have an offensive line coach who will be here. He's not going to Ole Miss to coach in the playoff. He will be here evaluating the guys they've got currently on the roster. And I think that's a huge thing for LSU because they have the ability to have big-time practices with current players, and it's an audition for those guys for next year. And I believe this new offensive line coach can look at, hey, this is what we got. Look at this guy move. Look how he moves. Okay, there's a spot for him. I like him. I see his technique may be off, or maybe some of the things he's doing may be off. And I believe that there's going to be a few guys on the offensive line that look significantly better next year than they do this year. Now, I do think they're going to go get some guys, right? Braylon Moore, there's conversation about him potentially coming back, which we talked about
why
this.
he wouldn't.
Yeah, we talked about this off the show. He's not going to be a first-round pick or second-round pick. I don't think he's a third-round pick right now. I think he's good. So why would you not come back with knowing you're going to have a better offense, knowing you have experience, and you're going to be in the middle of that lineup, and you're hopefully going to be or middle of that offense line, and you know you're going to be healthy. So I think this next month is going to be huge for the staff and for the guys currently in the offensive line. I do believe they go get some guys to fill in some roles, but I don't think it's like, hey, we got to go get 5 or 6 transfer offensive linemen. I don't believe that.
Well, let me throw this at you too, because I think a lot of times we look at that spot like we maybe look at some of these other spots and think it's so singular about what's going on. 2 years ago, not 2 years ago. Yeah, I guess 2 years ago, 2 seasons ago, right? The Will Campbell years on that, right? How many guys got drafted off of that offensive line?
4.
How well did they run the ball?
Not well.
Okay, right? And so the reason why I bring that up is 2 years later, you don't run the ball well 2 years in a row, but 1 year you got 4 draft picks. The next year, I don't think they're going to have any on this one, right? Maybe 1. I bring that up to say sometimes we look outside and think it's piece by piece, and maybe we're just not doing a really good job of working together as a unit.
Correct.
Maybe the way things were coached, maybe the way the offensive plays were run, maybe the way you kind of schemed up things, it didn't allow you to work well as a unit. So maybe the pieces are in the building, or a lot of the pieces are in the building, and now it's about how do we put this scheme together to do what we need, what we want to do, and which is to be able to run the ball effectively. Look, we all know, or at least we all think, that Lane's offense is about high flying, throw it here and there. But at the root of what he really wants to do is run the ball. So if this offensive line coach you're bringing in allows you to be able to have a more cohesive unit that works together, that allows you to run the ball better, it may not necessarily be, oh, we need another player here and this and that. It may be in the building already, but it's about style and how you fit it and how you run it and how they work together. I think that's probably a big part of what may have been missing over the last 2 years in terms of the running game.
Let me go through this real quick. You have Carius Kern, true freshman. Braylon Moore, redshirt junior. Paul Mubanga. Look, I know everybody's all, but he has experience. He's a redshirt sophomore. Solomon Thomas was a guy that they expected big things from. He got hurt beginning of the season. He's a true freshman. He'll be a redshirt freshman next year. Tyree Adams had a lot of time. I would imagine when Tyree was healthy, he was probably the best offensive lineman they had this year. He's a redshirt sophomore. You have Weston Davis. I know everybody hates that name right now, but he's a redshirt freshman. My point is, Ori Williams, redshirt freshman, right? DJ Chester's a redshirt sophomore. My point in saying that is you have a bunch of guys that are very young and that were highly touted coming into LSU and got experience. Doesn't mean that they weren't good. A lot of them weren't great, but they got a lot of experience, which is invaluable. So you have these guys that aren't going to be green when it comes to SEC play, and now you put in a system that's going to be a lot more
conducive
to having success. And I'm not so sure you don't have answers in-house right now.
Yeah, well, you say those names, and what I look at is the build of these folks. Carrier's Curran, 6'5", 320. Tyler Miller, 6'6", 335. Paul Mubanga, 6'5", 317. Solomon Thomas, 6'4", 325. Terry Adams, 6'7", 310. Ethan Callaway, 6'7", 305.
Weston Davis, 6'7", 317.
Yeah, like
Rory Williams,
6'8", 335. Cohen Eccles, 6'4", 350. Like, they can't all be bad.
Right.
Like, it's not like they're physically limited. And so it must be something else, and you can't go and get all of those are high 4 stars to 5 stars. You're telling me all 8 of them suck?
My point.
Like, that just, I find that hard to believe. So you do have answers, and to your point, they all were young. They were all very young, and they were all kind of thrown in the fire, and you tried to supplement a little bit in the portal. You brought in, You brought in Braylon Moore, obviously, and you brought in Josh Thompson. Josh Thompson is a
solid college player.
That is a Big Ten offensive lineman if I've ever seen one.
Right.
Like, that's just, I'm just going to go grab you and move you. I'm going to try. A lot of throw up in the helmet.
Well, and I'm not a read option guy. I'm not a zone read guy. I'm gonna put my hand on the ground. I'm gonna go forward and get you.
Right.
And drop you off the ball.
But I just find it so, because everybody's going to shit on all of these guys, right?
Correct.
Every time you talked about offensive line play at LSU, I've never known an offensive line more than I've known this one, because everybody knows their names. Because, like, oh, look, there he is again, getting spun around like a top. And I just don't understand.
Let me give you a little bit of an example. And we always go back to 2019, and it's easy to do it. And don't even look at what they did as far as winning the national championship and being the best team ever in the history. The biggest question mark that year was what? Going into the year? Offensive line. How is the offensive line going to play? We don't really know. They ended up winning the Joe Moore Award for being the best group in college football. Why is that? One, because I think they were talented. But I think more than that was they were in the right scheme. Right? You had a quarterback that helped them have success. You had a offensive play caller that helped them have success. It's not, you can't just fall all in one group. Oh, they suck. I don't think they suck because they weren't talented. I think they suck because it was a combination of a lot of things. Very young, and I don't think the scheme helped them out at all. And I think that's something that isn't talked about enough, as the scheme and the way that offensive play calling is called, I think goes a long way for helping an offensive line be successful. Would you agree, Jared?
Yeah, 100%. And that's kind of what I was alluding to, is kind of the way you're working as a group, the way it's being put together, the play calling, the sequencing of the play calling and how those things work. Look, sometimes if that's how things are going to go, it makes it really tough for offensive linemen to get aggressive, which is why over 2 years, they have not run the ball well. Well, 2 years ago, they had 4 draft picks on offensive line. What sense does that make for you to not be able to run the ball well when you have that up front? So I think a lot of those things, if they're changed and you allow these guys to kind of work in an aggressive way, if you will, maybe the running game changes a lot. And I think that's one of the biggest things you're going to be able to bring in. And I'm not going to sit here and say, no, they're not bringing anybody in. Once again, we don't know who's going to be available. We don't know where the upgrade is going to be viewed that you can go and grab one at a value spot. But with that being the case, I'm not so sold that who is in the room, they just can't get the job done.
Right.
So I think that they have a lot of potential there. It's how can we pull out what's already in there?
Correct. And
go ahead. Do we know anybody? Obviously, like I said, we watched LSU very intently. Have you ever heard a whisper about Ole Miss's offensive line? No, because you don't have to see him because the way the scheme works. I do think people get confused about what Lane Kiffin does offensively. He likes to run the football.
That's what Jared said. His offense is predicated on running the football. You think that he's going to throw the ball? It's not the Mike Leach throw it 65 times a game. You have to run the football, and that's what he likes to do. Look at his running backs that he's had at Ole Miss. Right?
Lane straight up came out and said he thought their offense could have been a whole lot better last year had they been able to run the ball the way they wanted to.
Right.
And he said, I think really the big reason why they had a lot of success and the success they've had this year is because they've been able to run the ball the way that they've been able to run the ball. They had a 19-year-old kid who's got like 20 touchdowns in the season.
Right.
So things like that matter, right? And that's not just coming because we have a talented back. We're doing things right up front.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he's going to look to do when he comes in and he really puts his stamp on this LSU offense and how they play ball.
Correct. So, I mean, look, do I think that they need to maybe go get one or two experienced guys? For sure. But I think that this next month is going to tell them a lot, which, it's good that LSU obviously is bowl eligible and they have these practices. And, we don't want to go play in the Texas, whatever bowl they're playing in Houston. But it's more than just playing in the bowl game right now.
And at least you didn't opt out.
And at least you didn't opt out, which we're going to get to that. We're gonna get to that because I think that's a crock of shit. Like, hey, Notre Dame was one of those, like, everybody look at me type of schools. Like, we do things the right way and, all this type of stuff. We're a huge brand and
Rudy.
I think this just sets them back. They can't – I haven't seen one person talk about the decision and agree with it.
I did.
Who?
Ryan Clark did. I don't agree with him, but he definitely did.
Well, I didn't hear that.
He's on an all-time run right now.
I didn't hear that. But, it's just there's more than to it than look, you can be bitter. And I think the best example was Georgia. When Georgia felt like they got snubbed.
They did. From
the playoff, which I thought they did. I think Notre Dame got snubbed. Do I think Notre Dame should have been in? Sure. I think they're better than Tulane. I think they're better than James Madison. I do. I think they're better than Oklahoma. They may be better than Alabama. Who knows? Right? But they didn't get put in. So they said, we're done. We don't want to play. Georgia got snubbed that one year. I think it was a little bit of a Georgia SEC fatigue that year, and they said, you're out.
They had back-to-back national championships.
Right. And so what Georgia did was, okay, we're not going to cry. Yeah, we're pissed. We should be in. We're going to go to the Sugar Bowl. Was it the Sugar Bowl? And we're going to beat the brakes off of TCU by 60 points. I think that was pretty good. That made a statement. Now the conversation is, shit, we should have put them in. And you know what happens? Anytime they're on the bubble, moving forward, they're probably going to get the benefit of the doubt because they're Georgia, and look what they did.
And
what I don't like about the whole situation is the crazy part is I think Notre Dame gave even more reason as to why you should be playing the game as to why you shouldn't be playing the game. They even came out and said that, hey, look, we don't even know exactly which one of our guys we're going to have, who's going to opt out, who's going to be looking to go play or get themselves ready for the draft. So we don't know who's going to be here. Great. Play the young dudes.
Right.
That's what it's for at this point.
If it doesn't matter, play them.
You got seniors who they ain't got no option to opt out. They're going to fucking take a regular job after this. They thought they had one more. They no longer have it. You have the young kids who there's at least probably 15 more practices, 2 more weeks of practice that they can have, and an actual ball game that they can play to get themselves ready for next year that you can evaluate them in. You got that opportunity that you're skipping out on, all because of what? Because you didn't get what you want because of spoiled milk. I think it's bullshit at that point, right? Like, it's even better if you got guys who are getting themselves ready for the draft, who are going to tell you, hey, don't play me in this game, or I'm not going to play in this game, so you don't have to worry about me here. What happened to the young guys? They ain't been practicing all year. They ain't been getting ready. They're not still in shape. They don't need the work. They could use the work. Why don't you go do that? Why don't you go play? Why don't you go show them? Or you can do just like Georgia did. And you can go make an example out of the game. And you can go play the schedule that you're given. And you can go show that we are that dominant team. And you can go make sure you leave that mark. That's
correct.
What you could do. But instead, they chose the other way around, and I don't really like it at all. And I also don't. So now when I said I alluded to, I saw that Ryan Clark talked about what he thought was it's a long year. They played in the chip last year. They haven't had a break. Hey, bro, at the end of the day, it's college football. It's not pro football. You're not playing to the end of February. You're not playing all the way up. You're just not.
You don't have OTAs. You don't have mini camp.
You still got a break, bro. It's still college sports at the end of the day. I've done both of those. I know what those are like. And yes, I'm not at all saying it's not a long season, but it's just one. and you still got a break, and you still can go do some things. So I don't agree with that. I think the school and the team and the boys should have played. Whether or not that means some of those guys left and got themselves ready for the draft, great, go do what you got to do. But they're still a team. Go play. Spot the ball, get your ass out there, and go play some ball.
And look, this may be an old head. I don't even consider myself an old head. I'm not old enough to be an old head, but this is maybe an old school. What kind of message is that sending to, like, hey, bro, life's hard. Like, shit ain't going to happen the way you want it to happen all the time. Like, it's going to be unfair. You're going to think you should have gotten this job or this promotion or whatever, and you don't get it because for one reason or another. All this is telling these kids is, hey, you know what? It's okay to just say, oh, we didn't get what we want. We're gonna quit. We're not gonna do it. We're gonna back out. It's just what kind of message is that sending? Is like, we're gonna make a point. We didn't get what we wanted, so we're gonna cry about it and we're not gonna play. I think that's a crock of shit. I think it's bad.
And I alluded to it. I really do hate it for the older kids, for the seniors. I don't know how many they have on the roster, but that those guys really thought they had one more, whether they were going to play 10 snaps, 2 snaps, or 35 snaps, or 50 snaps. Like, they thought they had one more, and they may not be going to the league, and it may be absolutely over for them at this point. Man, they would have liked to have one more meaningful one.
Yeah,
I really do think they would have, and I don't love that.
Look, you got one of the best players in the history of your program. Putting this on Instagram, I guess it's over.
I guess it's over.
Like,
we didn't talk to each other.
That's
bad.
It's a
It's
bad
bad.
It's just not a good sign. It's not a good look. And like I get it, man. Like, you feel like you got screwed, and you probably did. Honestly, like, if I'm being completely honest,
no doubt.
With the 2 Group of 5 schools that were able to get in, not only one but 2 of them, you probably did. But what's the point?
No doubt. And look, that's another conversation, right? Like, what this year in the playoffs, or the selection committee is terrible. Like, I don't know how you fix that, but they are not good. They have been wishy-washy and back and forth on how they rate and judge teams and all this kind of stuff. And they weren't looking at head-to-head matchups with Notre Dame and Miami. And then all of a sudden they were looking at head-to-head matchups with Notre Dame and Miami because they ended up being right next to each other. They just would talk. It was a word salad. They would talk in circles, and they would talk about whatever narrative made sense to them. And I just think that was terrible. But what this did do was it's going to force conferences, because the ACC screwed up, right? The ACC, there's no reason why Virginia should have been playing in the ACC championship. It should have been Miami and Virginia. That's who should have been in the championship game, and whoever wins that game would have been in the playoff, and it would have been a lot easier to swallow. But instead, and Notre Dame would have been in because James Madison would not have been in. And so instead, you had this weird tiebreaker where you had a 7-5 team playing against Virginia, who is not that very good, right? And the 7-5 team beats them, and they're not even in the playoffs, and they lets James Madison get in the playoffs. If you want the 12 best teams, that's not the 12 best teams, right? You're given a group of 5. Every year, the group of 5 team is going to get stomped. That's just the way it works. Unless you fall into like a Boise State, where Boise State is like.
There's a reason we still remember that game.
Correct, right? But that doesn't happen very often. You can't have 2 of them, right? And look, maybe they go out there and they play their ass off and they end up winning and doing whatever, but they're not going to win a national championship. They may upset a team.
Wait, time out. At the end of the day, first off, I don't think that year in and year out there's 12 teams that can actually win a championship. But if you're going to put 2 group of 5 teams in, at least have them have the resume that says they belong.
Right?
Because that's the criteria that we give into all these other schools, not just that you're the best group of 5 options out there. Who the hell have you beat?
Right.
So, like, I'm not truly against Tulane getting in, maybe because some of the other stuff they've done, but they also lost by 35 to Ole Miss this year. Are we sitting here saying that we're expecting that to change?
Right.
Because I'm not exactly sure that's what we're expecting. I think people would be more about seeing a third time of Georgia and Alabama playing, knowing what's happened these last 2 games, than they would want to say, let's see the second time of what we saw earlier this year was them get stomped by 35. That's just where I think I'm at right now.
Yeah.
So if you don't have stuff on your resume that shows you beating these Power 4 teams, I don't give a damn what kind of record you got.
Yeah.
I don't care what else you've done. And that's the problem I have with the two that's in. It's not so much that they're in, it's about, well, does that resume stack up to this resume? Because if it doesn't, I don't care what your win total looks like, and I don't care what you've done in that situation. You're not a better team.
Right. Correct. And look, they, conferences have come out and said, okay, we're going to reevaluate our tiebreaker rules. So that's going to change. Notre Dame, in the bylaws or whatever the hell the rules are, they call them, Notre Dame will now, in this situation next year, will be in because they don't play in a conference championship game, which I also think is bullshit. Put yourself in a conference. It's time. Like, the way you have to be in a conference. Can't be independent, right? And so now Notre Dame's, if they're ranked in the top 12 in the last college football rankings, they're in.
No matter what.
No matter what, right? So moving forward, they're in. I know the crying didn't do that. This was already happening before they started crying about not making the playoffs. But the conferences are going to reevaluate tiebreakers, which I think they need to, right? Like, if you're going to put the best two conferences, the best two teams in the conference in the championship game, then you got to put them in the championship game. You can't be, it used to be, look, in 2022, LSU got put in the game. They probably weren't the second best team in the SEC at that time. They had 3 losses, right? But they still had an East and the West, and they won the West, and that's how they got put in, right? It shouldn't be now. SEC doesn't have doesn't have divisions, so it's whoever has the 2 best records get in, right? And so that's how it should be, and that's how the ACC should do it. I guess the ACC still has divisions. It was the only way I can think of it because Virginia had 5 losses. Duke had 5 losses. I don't really know what their tiebreaker rules are, but that's got to change. It's going to change. It's just – and look, people are talking about, we need 16 teams. I don't know if that's the answer either.
The ACC tiebreaker policy, Miami finished in a 5-way tie with Georgia Tech, SMU, Pittsburgh, and Duke for second place with a 6-2 record in the ACC. Despite a 75 overall record, the Blue Devils played the right teams to gain an advantage in the ACC's 6th tiebreaker. Conference opponent record. Duke's ACC foes had a combined win percentage of .500, while Miami and Georgia Tech fell behind at .438.
So in the NFL, if you have a tie in a division, it goes to best overall record.
Probably what it should be.
Probably what it should be. That makes the most sense.
But it's a conference championship.
Yeah, but that's a tiebreaker. You're tied. So you have the best overall record, and you should get put in the conference championship game.
We don't want to go to the ACC's 6th tiebreaker?
No. Do not want to.
I want to throw this in there, too, because I'm not on board with this. There is a lot of conversation of at some point doing away with the conference championship game. I don't love that. I think that's a dangerous spot because then at that point, you're also getting to a spot where somebody's going to look at it somewhere down the line and like, well, why the hell we got to play these conference games? What are conference games if there's no conference championship? Why can't I just make up my own schedule and we go about it from there? So I think you're kind of setting a dangerous precedent when you talk about that as well. Now, even when you look at like the NFL model, winning your division automatically puts you in the playoffs. So it does mean something. It doesn't mean that you get to play into a national championship, but like it gives you the opportunity. So I do think maybe doing something like that or having that be a thing, or maybe if it's like in the current form of this thing, if it's, hey, there's 12 teams that's in it. If you make it to that conference championship weekend and you are one of the 12, I think that should give you a spot to where you can't get kicked out. Now it can't mean nothing. You can have a higher seed, you can have a home game, you can have things like that, but it can't mean nothing. Because I think at that point you make it in a spot where why do we have to play the schedule that you say we have to play if this doesn't mean anything?
I mean, this is what follow me down this path of how this happened, right? Notre Dame obviously not in a conference. They want to be staunchly independent. They're mad at the ACC and the ACC network for running the Notre Dame-Miami game almost 15 times in 2 days.
But here's my question. Why are you mad? They're in a conference. They're trying to promote their conference team.
Who do you think you fucking are trying to tell me how to run a conference when you're not in one?
Right.
Like, you don't have a say in what we do over in the ACC. Yeah, we let you come crash for a year, but you got to get off the couch. Go get. If you don't want to stay here, you ain't staying. But you should, because if you were in the ACC and you were to put up that same record that you did, you'd be in the playoff.
In the playoff.
But What I think that they are doing is, how many teams make the playoffs in the NFL?
I don't know.
14.
14.
How many teams make it in college?
12. So you think it should go to 14?
I think that's what they want you to think. They're pissing off the right fan base with a Notre Dame contingency that is taking their ball and going home. They're crying from the rooftops as to why they didn't get in, how this is a travesty, what's going on with college football. That could be enough for an impetus of change, because what everybody actually wants that's involved with college football and the money-making operation of all of this is more teams, more playoff spots, more games. And if you piss off the right fan base at the right time, that can be enough to be like, how did Notre Dame not get in? We need to reevaluate this and allow more teams to get in, because if we're going to put the group of 5 in, there's no way that Notre Dame should be able to be left out.
Yeah, well, here's the deal.
And so they're just trying to expand it, but this is the way that it's the Wizard of Oz. This is the peek behind the curtain of, if you actually really sit down and think about it, they're doing this for a reason.
Notre Dame is not the only one that can gripe, right? Like, if Vanderbilt wanted to, they could have a legit gripe,
right? But
as to why they're not
a big
in
enough brand,
right? They're not, right? And so Clark Lee comes out and says, "Hey,
we'll play."
Yeah, are we disappointed that we didn't get in? Of course, but we're not. It's our fault. We shouldn't have lost 2 games, right? We should have done more to get in, right? They lost to Alabama 30-14. It was a lot closer than that, right? And then they lost to Texas 34-31.
Both on the road, correct?
Both on the road. So, Texas obviously griping they didn't get in. They lost 3 games. Shouldn't lose to Florida. Okay, I don't have any sympathy for them. Vanderbilt, if Notre Dame has a gripe, Vanderbilt has maybe a bigger gripe. Right? You talk about, Vanderbilt didn't beat anybody worth anything. Well, Tennessee was ranked in the top 25. They beat them. Missouri was ranked in the top 25. They beat them. LSU was ranked in the top 25. They beat them at the time. You can't just say, hey, you beat them. Those are good wins. And then look at the end of the season. Oh, well, they ended up not. They're out of the top 25. You know probably why they're out of the top 25? Because Vanderbilt beat them. That was a loss that Vanderbilt gave them, right? It wasn't like they were beating teams that had losing records. It's just not. I'm not saying Vanderbilt should be in. I'm just saying if you're going to compare the two, Vanderbilt's got just as big of a gripe as Notre Dame does.
Let's go. To further prove my point, let's go back in history. Georgia gets left out of the 2023 college football playoff when it was 4 teams. What did they do in 2024? That can't ever happen again.
Correct.
Florida State got left out too. They were undefeated, but their quarterback got hurt, so they can't play in it either.
Right.
And so they played each other. Florida State took their ball and went home. Essentially, it's like, all right, this is dumb. Georgia said, we'll play.
Yeah.
And beat the brakes off. Yeah, beat the brakes off of them. But then that was enough of a national debate to say this has to get expanded. It can't just be 4 teams that get in. You're leaving out too many good teams. You're leaving out a combined, they were 13-1 and 14-0. Like, that's 27 wins you're leaving on the table. And Georgia absolutely should have been in. But then you expand it.
And look, I think Florida State should have been in too. Now, I get why they didn't get in, but go ahead.
But no, it's just, and so they go to the next year and expand it to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We go from 4 to 12. So they'll probably go from 12 to either 14 or 16, and then you'll see them adopt the NFL model.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. It's just I can't get on board with this whole Notre Dame Cry Me a River type stuff. The pity party. I just can't. I'm off that. I think, look, Notre Dame fans, I think you should have gotten in. I'm not saying that you should be out. But that's the card you were dealt, the hand you were dealt, and you got to figure it out.
Plenty of other teams that could bitch just as much as you that are just like,
you don't think fans want to see Jeremiah Smith?
Jeremiah Love.
Jeremiah Love play again?
Right.
I would have liked to see him play again.
He wanted to play again.
Yeah, I would like to see him play again. And for all the reasons Jared had mentioned earlier, and development, all this kind of stuff, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me at all. But look.
Well, that's what happens when you have the powers that be are the ones that make decisions. The athletics director that's over here saying, well, wait till next year because we actually have an agreement in place that says we'll be able to play next year. Don't worry about it. And it's like, okay, so that's another guaranteed spot. So now you have to make another spot. And so it can't be uneven. So we'll just add 2 more teams. And instead of getting rid of, I'd love, good for Tulane, good for Ashley Madison, to be able to play. But that's not going to be competitive. Like you said, you've already seen Tulane and Ole Miss play. Now, the only thing interesting about that game is it's Lane Kiffin's turn to sit back on the couch and go, how much are you all going to miss me? Because I don't think there'd be any question about how that game would go down, but y'all can take my understudies. But if you don't win by 35, then it's very easy to point like,
Do you know?
Y'all should have let me coach probably.
Do you know who Notre Dame's schedule is next year?
I'm sure it's fantastic.
Wisconsin, Rice, Michigan State, Purdue, North Carolina, Navy, Miami, Boston College, SMU, Stanford, Syracuse, in the season at USC against USC.
No conference game.
No conference championship. Game.
And this is the way that you're starting.
If you don't get in the playoffs with that schedule, then you are severely underachieving.
Well, and it's they are quick to the table for this because every year seeing people get bought out of football games, they're moving their schedule. Alabama's already done it. You've seen it around the country.
Correct.
Why are we playing a hard schedule? And if you're Notre Dame and you're independent and you get to schedule whoever you want, why would we not load it up with powder puffs?
No. They keep their rivalries. Relax. Make it their rivalries.
Yeah. USC.
That's who is
and
the
Navy.
other one?
And
Navy.
Yes.
USC and Navy.
So they'll be in that, and now they're guaranteed to make the playoff every year. And we saw this coming down the pipeline whenever this was expanded.
We knew it.
It's like they have if they're not in the playoff every year, they're severely underachieved. And now they missed it, and they're like, oh, well, next year if we're top 12. With that schedule,
yeah,
you better be.
Right. I mean, this year they.
So now it's a.
This year they're two.
It's an 11-team playoff.
I'll give them USC, but
Maybe.
this year's top two teams on their schedule that they play were the first two games of the season. They went 0-2, and they rattled off 10 straight. Everybody talking about they won 10 straight games. Yeah. Purdue, Arkansas, Boise State. Okay, Boise State maybe. NC State.
Maybe why.
USC, Boston College, Navy, Pitt, Syracuse, Stanford. Like
all of these teams suck.
Your two toughest
opponents
were the first two, and you lost both of them.
You're out.
Hell, we don't even have to. Let's not even go with let's not try to figure out who your toughest opponents were. Name me which one of them opponents was even in the college football playoff conversation.
The top two.
Who?
Miami and Texas A&M.
No. Of the 10-game winning streak.
None.
Exactly. So, like, what are we talking about here? Who would you beat?
Right. Correct.
I shouldn't have front-loaded that thing. Those 2-year deals really bit us in the ass.
Well,
you front-loaded and you went 0-2 in the front load.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Now you're mad that you're not in the playoffs.
Right.
Because you lost to 2 playoff teams. Sounds like you don't get to go to the party, pal.
Right.
But we lost to 2 playoff teams. Yep. So why would you get to go see them play again?
Yeah. That's my
soapbox. We won
soapbox.
10 straight by average of 30 points. Against who?
Yeah, no shit. You should do that.
Against who?
And look, both those games you played close, but you lost. Played close, and you lost. I'm not saying you shouldn't be in.
They shouldn't be in.
Okay. You say you shouldn't be in.
No, look at this.
I only would say they should be in only because of who you put in. That's all. That's the only reason why.
Right.
But of those top 10 teams are the ones that we thought you were in a true debate with. Nah.
If you do blind resume, take the names off, and you put their schedule and Vanderbilt's schedule next to each other. Take the names off. Who are people going to say should be in and shouldn't be in?
Hell, Mikey, I think you can do the same thing with Alabama with them. If you took that off, only thing they got over Alabama is the number that's in the loss column.
Right.
But they haven't beat anyone. Right. Alabama's beat some damn good teams. They beat the Vandy team that you're talking about right now. They went to Athens, beat Georgia, and ended their 30-plus game, nation's longest home game winning streak. They've done those things this year.
Yeah.
Who have you beat, Notre Dame? Why should you be in over them? Just because you have one less loss? Who cares? Who you beat?
Yeah, I'm with you. I just compare. It's easy to compare Vandy because they have the same record. That's the only reason. You know? And both of them have Heisman finalists on their team, which also, whether the committee wants to admit it or not, that matters to them.
Yeah, it's a TV program.
Yeah. So look, it's a disaster. I'm not on board with the whole let's cry for this. We should have been in it. Blah blah blah. Take our ball and go home. That's bullshit. But hopefully, they make some changes next year, I'm not holding my breath. They're going to have another conversation next year about who should be in, who shouldn't be in. And it's always going to be that way. But they do need to fix the group of 5 teams.
Yeah, it won't be that way for everybody can get in. Everybody can play.
Yeah, hey, you're going to have a 64-team playoff.
Season-long tournament.
That is brutal. That would be brutal. All right.
We do have a bit of LSU was obviously hot and heavy on the Elijah Robinson train.
Mm-hmm.
This has
Elijah Robinson's not coming back?
Has a bit of a snag.
Uh-oh.
Per Matt Zenitz, an update via Zenitz, Elijah Robinson in the LSU defensive line coach job. Per sources, it's very much in question at this point that Robinson, who is of interest to more than just LSU, ends up joining the Tiger staff. There's some doubt at this stage that it ends up happening.
Okay, never mind.
They saw that Coach O interview on Bussin' with the Boys and said,
I don't think that was it, but
looks great. You get new teeth, too?
Here's the deal. Elijah Robinson would be a – oh, did he get new teeth? I don't know. Did he?
He got some veneers in there. Got some chompers.
That's the thing. Everybody's getting veneers.
I think they – it's a good idea in theory.
Do you have to
Let me see your teeth.
I have good teeth.
Yeah, you don't need to – yeah.
No. This is a question, and I could probably Google this. Is when you get veneers, is the upkeep of your veneers the same as regular teeth?
I feel like you gotta brush them, huh?
No, for sure, but if you don't brush your teeth, your teeth could get rotten. They can get whatever. Veneers, I feel like since they're fake teeth,
veneers don't need to be brushed.
They don't. Can you lose veneers? Can you take them out? Are they just on top of your teeth? That can't be do they take all your teeth out?
I think they have to shave them down, right? You can't just throw them on top of the teeth.
Right.
You have to make room for them.
Yeah, they're not a grill. You can't just you just can't put them on top of them, but so you don't have to brush veneers.
No, but you should. I mean, just brush your teeth.
Yeah, of course, brush your teeth. That's normal, right? But
yeah, they stay white. See, I do think that I don't know if there's 2 different ways to do it. I thought you had to shave your teeth down. They put the cap on top of it.
Yeah, I don't know how.
They do.
I don't know how.
Sure they do.
I'd imagine that's how that works. Or they don't take all your teeth out. That can't happen.
No. But I'm pretty sure they have to shave it down to be able to put something on top.
So you're you're committed to this.
Well, so here's my. But here's
if you go like veneers and then you come out of veneers, I think you end up looking like Frankenstein or Tales from the Crypt Keeper or something like.
But here's my other question, right? So you still have teeth. Right, whether they're shaved down or not, right? When you have those teeth, they're in the gums. So you brushing your teeth is not just for your teeth; it's for gum health.
Yeah.
So if you have the teeth and you have veneers, are you at risk of having gingivitis, or you have all the other shit that comes with teeth maintenance?
I would imagine so.
I don't know how this works.
It doesn't go away. Because if it did, then it'd be like, well, shit, my life might be a little bit easier with veneers.
You get some veneers.
Just do that.
You get some horse teeth.
At that point, it's not just a vanity thing, then, right?
Right.
Prepping for veneers in no way grinds away your teeth. The myth is most likely the result of people confusing veneer prep with crown or bridge prep.
Okay.
And has been an extremely popular debate on social media platforms. In some cases, you may need to shave down a little more of the tooth if it is badly damaged, but grinding them down to nubs or toothpicks is a tad bit aggressive. We try to avoid unnecessary shaving down of the teeth at all costs. So they try to stick. There's a way to stick a veneer on your tooth, like a cap almost,
okay.
And then they just have to make as little room as possible to put that on there. So
it's just a cap.
Some kind of space.
Yeah, but see, I don't trust dentists at all.
You don't trust anybody.
I think they enjoy the torture of all of this. I think they shave it down just because they that's what we got to do. And you go in there, it's like a mechanic. I don't know how to change my oil, so I have to trust you to change my oil. It's actually, you know what you need is a new carburetor. I don't know what that does either, but I'm just gonna tell you no. But and then you have a dentist. It's cavity. It's did I have a cavity?
Oh, brother.
Yeah, here we go.
I'm telling you, they do this because they derive pleasure out of the pain.
Here we go.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Well, I was honestly, I've been very curious about the whole veneer thing.
I do think that they can look good. There's people that need veneers.
Yeah, for sure. I absolutely agree with that.
And there's people that get. It's like a boob job. Too big can be bad.
Correct.
It needs to be
proportionate.
Yeah, too white is crazy.
Right.
It
Right.
it looked like Mr. Clean.
Yeah, I'm with you. Veneers are wild. Some people. I'm not dissing veneers. I just don't know how they work.
Yeah,
So thanks for educating me.
absolutely.
Back to the Elijah Robinson thing. What I was saying is obviously we thought that was a done deal. It doesn't look like it. May not look like it's happening now.
Very much in question.
Whenever that news came out, I think everybody was pretty excited about it because I think everybody had chalked up Blake Baker going to Tulane. And you're like, okay, we're going to bring in a guy. At least you're starting to fill the staff, whatever. And then Blake Baker comes back. The entire defensive staff comes back. It's not as big of a loss not getting Elijah Robinson as it could have been a week ago.
Yes.
Agree?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, now that you retain.
No, I'd like to have him.
I
think it'd be
sure.
great.
I mean, you still need a defensive line coach.
You still need one.
Yeah. I mean, it felt like he was the answer to a lot of your questions regarding the LSU recruiting and the defensive front. It was, maybe they had known Elijah Robinson was coming. You're able to pitch that to the guys like, oh, shit, we love him. Like, he's been a great recruiter everywhere he's gone. Like, they probably have heard about him. He was at Texas A&M. Gabe Rilliford said that if he had stayed at Texas A&M, he would have gone to Texas A&M, which is a huge coup for his recruiting prowess. And now it does feel like with Blake Baker coming back, you have Kiffin Peoples, everybody that stays, it feels like it's a very much a job that's going to be easy to hire for because people want to come coach at LSU because you'll be attached to success on the defensive side.
Right.
But I do feel bad for how many defensive line coaches have you had?
4, 3.
This will be your fifth?
Is it? I don't know. 1 year you didn't have one.
Right, but you did, but you didn't.
Right.
It was, but yeah, since, the Brian Kelly era, it's been a new one every time. Nobody stayed for more than a year.
Yeah, look, I don't know. And I guess my next question, I don't think anybody knows the answer to. Hey, if it doesn't happen, where do you go? I don't know that answer.
No, me either.
I'm
telling you, there's one name.
Does Kyle Williams stay there? I don't know.
I don't think that's just the prevailing theory. I haven't heard anything
I don't
other
think
than
that. I don't think he enjoys college football.
Not if I don't
Coaching.
have to. He doesn't need anything other than he.
Right.
I think he stepped in for LSU at a time when it was.
And
necessary.
look, maybe there was a. He didn't like the way the Brian Kelly ran his staff. Maybe, I think it's more about the recruiting. I think it's more about the culture of college football now compared to what he's used to. And I think that's why he doesn't like it. I don't know this for fact. I'm just talking about.
That's certainly one thing. It could also be just if he's a very, very, very low key dude, man.
Yeah,
and
right.
Even in his playing days, it almost went unknown unknown that he was a perennial Pro Bowler that played 10 plus years in the league. And so I think it's probably more so of I have love for the game, but I don't need to do all of the extra stuff that comes along with it, which means the travel and all of that stuff. So the fix that he was getting out of coaching at the high school level was great for him. The opportunity to step in to the university that gave him an opportunity that he loves to do a job that needed to be done there. I think he loved the opportunity of that, but maybe he just doesn't love. I don't need or truly have the yearning to coach at the college level and all that comes along with it. I'm cool if I coach in high school.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where he's at as well.
Correct.
It's a full-time job. It's 365.
It's more than a full-time job.
Yeah.
I don't think people understand the time commitment that college coaches put in. There are any coaches, even at the professional level. They're at the field. They're doing more work than even players are, right?
Yeah.
Who has to prep for all the stuff that players are doing on the field? It's those guys.
Yeah.
So, that time commitment is serious, and you end up seeing not only the coaches, the players, the staff, everybody else. You see those people more than your family. For somebody like Kyle, maybe he's like, look, man, I spent 10 plus in the league. I've been really good. I've made a ton of money. I want to see my family and be around my family more.
Yeah.
And maybe that weighs more than just doing the actual coaching thing.
Yeah, and look, having Blake Baker and that staff back gives me a lot more confidence in finding a defensive line coach than saying, okay, we don't have a defensive staff. We're going to have to go and rally and find one and then hire. You just have to hire one position coach now, right? And you have an edge rusher coach, right? A defensive ends coach, basically. And then you just got to have the defensive line coach. I think that with Blake Baker and those guys, I'm pretty confident they're going to be able to
a lot
go
of people
find
would be
someone.
interested in that job if that's
Correct.
the position group.
Especially, hey, why don't you go look at the recruiting class we just brought in? You don't want to develop those guys? Put your name on that development.
Well, a lot of pressure.
Pressure don't matter. That's what you want.
Speaking of pressure, $2 super chat for Matthew Conkle. Lest we forget about Notre Dame's 2029 schedule.
I wouldn't even go that far. I didn't even
Start off, first game of the year, Alabama. Then you play South.
That'll get canceled.
Then you play South Florida, at Texas,
That'll get canceled.
at North Carolina State, Georgia Tech, at Florida State, Wake Forest, Navy, Syracuse, Clemson. They won't play.
That's a tough schedule.
They won't play 2 of those games, and I guarantee you it's Alabama and Texas.
No doubt. No doubt. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Poor old Notre Dame. You want to get?
Why don't they play Michigan?
You want to get to the mistake of the day?
I do want to get to the mistake of the day. Oh, this will. I bet you I'll have a take on this.
I'm sure I do. How about Phillip Rivers
Bobine.
signing to the practice squad for the Colts?
He's been running the same offense in high school at practice. What is he?
10 kids. 10 kids.
10 kids.
10 kids.
Mm-hmm.
How many grandchildren? He's got a couple of those too.
Yeah, I think so. He's 44 or
44.
Yeah.
he's 44
Yeah.
years old. I believe his first kid is in college or out of college. In college.
Who's Steven Rivers? Is that
That's his brother. He played his brother.
And Gunnar Rivers.
Steven Rivers played quarterback here. That's his.
Yeah.
That was his brother.
And one of his sons is committed to play college football like in next year.
Yeah, but I think he has one in college.
I mean, it's impossible to keep up with.
Yeah, a lot of kids. 10 kids.
And the only time he wears protection, I guess, is on the football field.
Very religious.
That could be it.
That's it.
So you think he's only had sex 10 times?
No.
Just
Anyway,
wondering.
give me your thought. You said you want to hear your thoughts on this. What are you gonna say?
This is a mistake of the
Yeah.
day. So, Blue Jays starter Jose Barrios pouted when he was left off the team for the Blue Jays World Series roster and opted to go home instead of stay with the team. Ross Atkins says Barrios' absence during the World Series was Barrios' decision. Asked, was Barrios unhappy? He was not happy. He was disappointed that he wasn't in our rotation. He handled it well, but when it came down to roster selection, he wasn't on it and decided to go home.
Yeah, see that? I think that's terrible.
A lot of people quit now.
Look, it's okay to be disappointed. It's okay to be pissed off. It's okay to even pout in a way, right?
I'd like to be there.
But
You still
man,
could have been there.
Be there. You know what I mean? Like, be part of. You're part of the team. How are you going to be able to walk into that clubhouse next year
What's up, bud?
and go out there and pitch and expect your guys to play their ass off for you? Now they're going to play because they're professionals, but like, man, that's not a good look, man. I hate that stuff.
I figured. I'm saying a lot of quitting going on.
Yeah, I mean, the quitting stuff it's a lot. I don't really have much to say to it. It's a lot.
Yeah.
A couple. I don't know if this is a mistake of the day, but it was certainly up for conversation. I couldn't decide if I wanted to give this a curtain call or a mistake of the day. For some reason, Quentin Jammer got on Twitter yesterday. Did y'all see this? And out of the blue, no reason really in particular, 8:22 at night, true story. In 2011, I played completely shit-faced drunk in at least 8 games.
Wow.
Just decided to let people know that. Like, nobody was
asking.
asking.
Who was this again?
Quentin Jammer for the Chargers.
Quentin Jammer was a dog.
Yep. He said, I played well in all but one game.
Jesus Christ, dude.
He goes, what happened?
How do you do that?
He goes, I was seeing shit that just wasn't there. Like, I was hammered. Like, oh. How
That's
do you run around like that?
That's a problem, dude. Like, you have an issue.
Yeah. I don't think he drinks anymore. He's going through a divorce.
That's tough.
But, I mean, that's impressive.
Tough.
He said more people do it than you think. I mean, whenever we played softball in college.
I've played with pitchers that get drunk.
That's fair.
That pitch drunk.
Yeah. Or they pitch better, they think it makes them better.
No, that's just what they do. Not good.
And that could be a problem also.
That's also-
if you're picking, it certainly means that,
That is also a problem.
if it doesn't make you better
Yeah.
and you're still doing it,
Yeah.
probably it's an issue. That would be, I think that's addiction, as some would say it.
Yep.
I mean, Doc Ellis did acid, but only did it once.
Yeah.
No hitter.
Daryl Strawberry probably had some.
That's a different thing. That's a performance enhancer.
Daryl Strawberry's story is
Crazy.
wild.
He was very good.
Very good.
Shows you how talented that dude was.
Yeah. But no, see, cocaine, and I think is a performance.
He would
enhancer.
also
Yeah,
pick
but
out-
I'm not talking about just that. There were some other stories too.
he would also
Some
pick out
extracurriculars.
girls in the stands, middle of the game, and get the clubhouse
That's what I'm talking about.
manager to go get them, and he would bring them into the clubhouse and have sex with them in the middle of the game, and then go back out.
His mind was on a lot other things than hitting breaking balls.
That probably has something to do with the cocaine.
And maybe that made him play better. Maybe it like took his mind off of shit. I don't know. That's wild.
Salt buster in the
Once
face.
again, shows you how talented that guy was.
No doubt. No doubt. All right, that's your mistake of the day.
Yeah, that was it.
Curtain call.
So it's not going to be Quentin Jammer, even though that is extremely impressive. Because if you like thinking about like getting hit in the stomach, shit face sounds awful, or like running sounds like you'd be like, oh, I don't feel great. Because I've like when we did like softball in college, we would drink in the dugout, but we weren't like I'm not like obliterated out here, and I don't have to run all that much. Golf, I don't have to move at all, and so that makes sense. But football seems like a wild sport to pick for that. I just thought it was interesting. My curtain call. Have you seen this? Oklahoma is embracing their life in the SEC. We have the OU Norman campus will suspend normal academic and campus operations for students and employees on Friday, December 19th, the day of the college football playoff game. So no more school. We're off Friday.
Nice.
They get ready for the college football
Love
playoff.
that.
They have changed their schedule. You can either move up your exam or move it back.
Or cancel it.
Or just don't go. Who
Yeah.
cares?
Good for them.
Go for John Matisse.
Good for them. That's how it should be.
That's how it should be. Yeah,
Yep.
that's what I'm saying. I don't think they do that in the Big 12, but in the SEC country,
It just means more.
It means more.
Just means more.
Let's get our minds right, boys.
Jared, you got a curtain call?
Yeah, I do. So I'm going to go back to what we kind of circled on and talked about earlier, but I'm going to throw some names at you. Mike McDonald, Kellen Moore, Ben Johnson, Sean McVay, Kevin O'Connell, Liam Cohen, D'Amico Ryan, Zach Taylor, Mike McDaniel, Kevin Stefanski, Jonathan Gannon, and Shane Steichen. That's a total of 12. Do you know what I'm talking about?
They're all coached underneath somebody.
They're all coaches that are younger than Phillip Rivers.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Phillip Rivers is older than 12 current NFL head coaches, and he is about to be probably the Sunday starter for the Indianapolis Colts.
Wow.
That's impressive. That's wild to think about.
Curtain call to him, man.
Can
That's
we?
awesome. They say he's in better shape now than he was when he played.
Well, of course, everybody.
That's
yeah,
it.
Best shape of his life.
That's it. Best shape of his life.
What do you think the stat line is for him?
Oof.
Honestly, knowing something crazy, he's going to end up throwing for like 325.
I was going to say like 21 of 33
Yeah,
for
something
255
crazy.
touchdown.
They're obviously going to.
I want to see them feet if they can still move in the pocket.
He played with a torn
I think Ball's
ACL.
probably still there. All of that stuff. Obviously, he knows the offense really well, but he hasn't worked with any of these guys, so that'll be news. He's got 5-6 days to do that, and I just want to know: are the feet there? Can you still move in the pocket?
I'd imagine it's going to be a heavy dose of Jonathan Taylor.
My question is, how did we get here? If you're the Colts, obviously he played there 1 year, right? Whenever they felt like they were a quarterback.
He understands
away.
the system.
Well, I
but
think the biggest part. Yeah, I think the biggest part of it is they're 8-5, and I think they really want to show an opportunity or a way to make it to the playoffs. Like what their current quarterback situation is, and all the guys that they've lost that were in the system that they don't have right now. I think going and grab someone who doesn't know the system, who just to fill the spot, would basically at that point just kind of punch you in the season. They have a unique opportunity with someone that knows the system, someone that's played in the system, someone they still have a whole lot of conversation with and contact with that just so happened to play in the league for 14 plus years. So I think something like that kind of marries all that stuff together, and they're like, well, I mean, I can think of a worse idea.
Yeah.
And I think that's how we end up getting here.
he hasn't played in 5 years,
Yeah.
right? Which is wild. Now, maybe part of it is I think obviously he understands the system. You have, Daniel Jones out, obviously torn Achilles. Riley Leonard has a sprained MCL, I think, or something in his knee. And then Anthony Richardson out for the year,
He broke his eyeball.
right? So I think part of it is you bring a guy that understands the system. Also, if Riley Leonard's going to be healthy and be the guy later on, you have a veteran guy who can help him
Along the way.
navigate through that as a rookie. I think maybe that could be part of it too. I don't know.
What do they do
Wild
if-
situation.
If Phillip goes down.
I don't know. Go get
I don't know.
Go
What
get
would they
Russell
do with
Wilson
him
or
on a
something.
pillow?
Go find Russell Wilson or something. I don't know.
That would.
You can't. He's not. You can't just pass the trade deadline. He's still on the team.
You're right. They gotta get released. He has to get released.
You can't do
Ain't
it.
doing that.
Yeah, you can't get Jameis. Go get Shadur.
Can't go get anybody.
Can't
They got
you
released.
can't go get anybody.
anyone.
Yeah.
Like literally.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I guess that's how you end up here. Because I was
Yeah.
just wondering, you sit in the room, it's the GMs, it's the coaches, it's like, hear me out, Phillip Rivers. And they're like, well, hold on, what? It's like, shit, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
I just think
Wow.
that, because somebody had to bring it up and be like, I know this is going to sound dumb.
Crazy story.
I know it sounds crazy, but
Right. What else it might be the only idea.
Yeah. Crazy story.
Oh,
Curtain call to him. All right, my curtain call. We're going to shift to Major League Baseball. Seattle Mariners president of baseball operations, Jerry Dipoto, trade guru. General manager Justin Hollander and Mariners manager Dan Wilson announced today the Major League coaching staff for the 2026 season. 2026 staff includes 3 new hires from 2025. Carlos Cardoza hired as a third base coach. Not the curtain call. Jake McKinley hired as Major League field coordinator. Not the curtain call. Hired as the bullpen coach, Austin Nola. Austin Nola is on a Major League coaching staff as the bullpen coach for the Seattle Mariners next year.
there we go.
Curtain call to him, man. He
That's
is
awesome.
That what I tell you? I said I think he's gonna end up in the coaching. Ended up in coaching. Mariners is what Mariners gave him his first shot in the big leagues. Made a very good impression for them, obviously over there. He was a headliner in the trade to go to San Diego. Got a bad concussion, kind of derailed it. Fought his way back to the big leagues last year, and now he is a Major League bullpen coach. Shout out to Austin.
Big shout out to Austin.
What a wild career.
Crazy. Awesome for him. All right, that's all we got for you on this beautiful Tuesday evening. We'll be back live in studio tomorrow. Ask Mikey and Mitch Wednesday. We'll promote it. We'll post it. Put your questions in the chat. We'll be back here tomorrow talking all sports again. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you can't watch us, but you like listening to us or anywhere you get your pods. We appreciate the support. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. See you on Wednesday. Peace.
New studio?
New studio, new fireworks.
Fireworks? Let's go!
Sir. Looks better with the backdrop.
It does. Look at that. Hit him!